Hello, today we are here with Redbad, Inge, and myself, Mark. The topic we are discussing is channeling, downloading, and knowing. These are terms that are used a lot when connecting with information, entities, or energies. So I would like to start off and giving Redbad the chance uh, to say or to explain how he sees these uh, terms and what it defines them. Redbad?
Yes. Well, let me first say that I've never channeled. Uh, I've been uh, with people who did, so I've experienced it in that matter, and the same goes for downloading and yeah, and knowing in a way that uh, yeah, but first we need to see what is what. So in my understanding, channeling is when you make contact with an entity or an energy form, and you let them take control of your voice, sometimes of your body, and it's a channel of that specific entity. So you give away your control, um, and and your sovereignty. So I think it's not the most pure form, the most beneficial form of seeking higher contact for humans. But yeah, um, it's another, let's say, opinion. It's out there, so yeah, it's not per se evil, but yeah, it's not that pure. I think if you want information, you can get it in a different manner. Again, I've never experienced it. I'm not a practitioner in that way. Then you have downloading next to channeling, and downloading is more, there's vibration slash information in is out there. So let's say um, within uh, correct me if I'm wrong, within spirit, the let's say the place where the ideas are, and you can tap into all different kinds or different parts of information, make contact with it, and let it yeah literally download it and process it. Um, and yeah, you have to translate, I guess, because the information is there, but is it useful information for you to use? It can be very cryptic, I think, or with lots of use of symbols. Um, so yeah, that's maybe a little bit difficult, but I think doable for human beings. And then you have knowing, um, and knowing is your your own connection with source in a way. Source as all that is. So every information, everything imaginable and more is there. And that's the most pure form of making contact with information or getting yourself informed. What I think is interesting is how do you establish, or how is it possible for human beings to establish a good connection? How can you make sure that you are in knowing? How can you make sure the information is not hijacked?
But you're talking about pure, and I know you, so I know it's very important for you to have a clear, pure channel. Are there different ways? Because when we say it is not pure, or for your sense not pure enough, that you would use it, does it mean with the information is not precise enough? It's not, or is distorted, or has a different.
How do you know for sure it's not biased? Is that the right correction pronunciation? It's not biased or corrupted, or I mean I can say. I mean you have to have, cheapo. You have to have a certain amount of trust and decisiveness to make a connection. You have to be able to say, is this information good or is it not good? You have to be very sincere. How can you make sure that the answer to that question is the correct answer? Do you need to create a whole atmosphere of like a spell, like to keep distortion out or something? Or
you're speaking about knowing, right? You're asking
about knowing, yeah.
Okay. These questions are actually only applicable when you're still looking at channeling or downloading.
Indeed.
Because both channeling and downloading are using something that's in between consciousness. Knowing doesn't have an in-between use, that you become a part of consciousness, which is contains all knowing. So these questions are very relevant and very good, important, as we look at how we use channeling and downloading.
Because a lot of people speak about channeling and downloading, but since there's a better form of getting your information, to put it bluntly like that, how do you do that?
Okay, first I want to. I consider it better because I find it easier. We try not to put a value judgment on it, because for one person, channeling is perfectly fine.
Yes.
However, what I do say is knowing is the cleanest and safest because you are one with the information. This is assuming that you haven't fallen into illusion. Because then you have illusion, you have the movies. So, in fact, the question there is, how do you know when you are, in fact, part of knowing?
Yes, correct.
Because that's the only way that you get the benefits of that cleanliness and the safety, the accuracy, and the completeness. Many steps that you should take before then is first to look at how good are you at putting your ego to sleep when you're in an altered state. How do you get there? Self-reflection. So it's a bit of hard work beforehand. Once you reach the point that you can step into knowing, then it's a piece of cake because you either know or you don't know. And then, of course, your intention Why are you trying to connect with knowing? If there's any hint of, I want information just so I could have information, again, that's a sign of the ego.
Yeah.
I want to get information because I don't want to let those people down and then I'll look silly.
Ego.
That is ego. So if you have not reached the state of being able to say, I don't know, and not feel intimidated or less or uncomfortable, everything just is. Once you reach knowing, everything just is. So the biggest question then is, how good is your translator?
Mm-hmm.
And not only translating the information into language, but what terms? Because if you have somebody who's completely unfamiliar with the word knowing, with capital K, then you will have to first explain what is knowing. Or when you're talking in symbols, remind people symbols. So it's more the only difficulty once you reach the capacity of being able to be one with knowing is which words do you choose to bring the information. The questions you had earlier, they really are only applicable to channeling and downloading, because if downloading is better than channeling, if you've hooked into the wrong source,
true.
Who are you receiving the information from?
Let's say there's a lot of deception in the area of channeling.
Channeling extremely, because you're actually speaking, and basically what you're allowing yourself to do is you're allowing an entity outside of yourself to speak as if that entity is you. So even if you keep your own voice, you are taking that information as being true.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're very, very good at checking to make sure you know who you're speaking with or what you're speaking with, you're okay. With downloading, the problem is, which library have you hooked into?
Yes.
Because with downloading, it depends on where you're retrieving information from. Even if you are retrieving information from consciousness, so the entire library, if you happen to fall into a section of these books were written and we want to keep them together because that's not good information, but you happen to have hooked into that, guess what you're downloading? I've had people tell me that they've had downloads and the information said I should do this and this and this and this. And I said, thank you. I didn't ask for it, but thank you, because it's in all due respects, because they really believed it. And I said no, because I always check. Because whatever I do, whatever I think, whichever direction I develop into or toward, it's still me, responsibility of self. That's another part of when you say, I'm in knowing. You are then completely responsible for everything that you bring down.
I think the big difference is when you can experience I am, then
you're in knowing.
Then you're in knowing.
In the state of I am, the state of I am brings you to the state that you need to be in order all these prerequisites to be in knowing. But once you reach the state of I am, then knowing is much easier, because you then also know where you're at. Because even in knowing, there are different layers, of course. So, what is true for one layer is no longer applicable for maybe another layer. Or it may be true, but not till 2 or 3 layers
further. Yeah.
Would you define it as no longer outside of yourself?
No, it's I am. So It's
You mean knowing? Knowing is not outside of yourself. Knowing, you're a part of it and it's a part of you. Yeah. Channeling and downloading is gathering information from outside of yourself. You're responsible for it, but it's someone or something else's information.
But we made a clear distinction now between channeling and downloading.
Yeah.
But in reality, is it so clearly to define like this is channeling and this is downloading?
Yes.
Is there overlap? Is there?
No. Channeling, you are allowing your biological system to represent something as if it's truth. It's coming through you. Downloading, you're receiving a package and you're opening it up and say, look what I've received. So you're not being used in your entirety, only your intellect is being used. With channeling, your whole system is being used.
Right.
You're speaking as if it's you, but it's not you.
Through you.
Yes.
And can you also say channeling can be from, let's say, a library too? Or is it more like an intelligent form?
It's more like an intelligent form. A library is the closest word that I can find to describe a library. It's static information.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas channeling, it's a moving intelligence.
Yes.
The whole process, it's moving. Downloading, it just depends. What kind of connection? And knowing, you're experiencing it. So it's moving, it's alive, but only because you're experiencing it. The information is also static. It's established information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like knowing is an experience and you experience it in multi-dimensions in a way. To compare it with downloading, it's more like from A to B. You are B and you're unfolding the package.
Yes.
More linear, let's say.
Yeah.
Let's say, and knowing is more spherical.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah, we're limited by the words.
Yes.
Yeah.
But when you get information, there are people who are channeling something that is channeling something else from so far away in density or in information or in vibration or in energy. There's downloading till how far can you download? Is it a sphere around the earth? Is it, people say, another dimension? People say another universe. And they all have different ideas of what that means. But also within knowing, then you can go back from what is I am. Are you part of everything? And what is everything?
And it depends on which I am, because that brings us to 0 points. Okay, let's keep it simple with downloading. You can download, if you're thinking distance, for as far as you're capable of hearing. It's still a download, even if there are 3, 4, 5 different stations in between. Because you're still retrieving information and it's clearly not your information. It's like you're getting a letter and then you're reading a letter. Channeling, if you're earthbound, wherever you're at, that's where the channel happens.
Mm-hmm.
So if you happen to be in Earth's atmosphere, then the channeling happens in Earth's atmosphere. If you happen to be on Mars, If you're capable of doing that, it could be that you meet another intelligence on Mars, and the channeling occurs here. The expression occurs here, but the channeling actually occurs then on Mars.
The let's say point of contact.
Yeah, but it's still a channel.
Mm-hmm.
So within channeling, they have to meet. 2 points have to meet somewhere.
Well, that's the problem. In channeling, you don't really meet. You meet and then you integrate.
Yeah.
And then you don't integrate or you separate. Whereas with downloading, you don't have to integrate. Some people end up doing that, and that's why their downloads aren't good, because they have influences of other intellectual energies.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the time, when that happens, they're probably not aware. Some people say that I'm a very clear channel, but I try not to channel because it's the least accurate thing to do out of the three. But I know I am capable of channeling. Sometimes it happens, but then I make it very clear that these are words or knowing or thoughts not from me, and I don't ever allow them to blend with me. Never.
And you always check.
The risk of, you don't want to take the risk of something hanging out.
You always check where the information is coming from.
Not always. If I engage, yes, always.
Mm-hmm.
If I just take the time to say go away, then I don't check where they're from. Which then it doesn't matter to me if it's positive, negative, in balance, out of balance. I don't care.
Yeah.
If at that point in time I decide no, then I don't bother checking what the deal is. If I decide to engage and listen to what is being said,
Mm-hmm.
then I double check, triple check, quadruple check. First, is it necessary for me to do this? Is there somebody else who's an expert at this?
Yeah.
Then I ask why. And then on top of that, I check to see if what is in front of me really is what it appears to be.
And how do you do that? Can you describe it, or?
It's kind of difficult. The closest I think that I can get to saying how I do that, I look. And if the frequency and the vibration combination is not what I know that it should be, then obviously it's a fake. But could I teach someone to do that? I don't know. I'm not a very good teacher, but that's what I do. I look at the frequency, and if it's not a match, then I say no. On the other hand, if you can't step into knowing, how do you find the original frequency?
But can all three forms be taught? Or is it, no, you have to be born in a certain way to be able to do this? Or are you saying with enough practice or with the right guidance, you can practice all three of them? If a person should wish to do that, of course.
I'm pretty sure that everybody could, to some degree, learn how to channel and learn how to download. And you do that through meditation and understanding altered state.
Mm-hmm.
But you must develop, in order to get to knowing, you must develop into that. It's sort of like anybody and everybody can learn Butterfly 1.
Yes.
But in order to learn Butterfly 2, you must develop into Butterfly 2. You'll need to wake up the receptors and the senders.
Train that muscle.
Yes. And check yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Self-reflection. Where's your ego, your intention? So it could be facilitated, but it's possible. But I think for most people, it will probably take a long time to step into knowing. And that's why downloading out of those two, is my favorite because most people won't get beyond channeling and downloading. They'll have flashes of knowing because it's necessary for their situation or their development or their family member, but to be able to consciously step into knowing, that's another story. But either way, anything with knowing, you'll need to develop into it. It's a process.
Mm-hmm.
Lifetime decision, life, it's a way of life.
That is a good ending to an end of this conversation because it's a little bit exploratory, of course, about the three concepts of channeling, downloading, and knowing. If there are any questions, you can always ask them below or send an email to info@btcbutterfly.com and we'll get back to the answer or tell you a little bit more. And please visit our Patreon website or our Facebook discussion group so you can see everything and ask your questions there. So I'll wish you all a nice day.
Bye.
Ciao.